Okay, good morning. So as I was going through the aggregator today, caught a few education stories, and one that's even related to a story we talked about yesterday. So we're going to start with that, and then see how far I get along, and then we'll go into some other stuff. So people are trickling in a little slowly today. I'm wondering if it's because I just set up the show, or if because I have this on Top Chat. I guess I'll figure that out in a minute. But anyway, we'll figure it out after the intro. Johnny, play the intro. Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way, but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, yours truly, PDawg Night. And stop the music. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Night Live. Oh, you blame Monkey. Yeah, Monkey's live right now. I wonder if is he still? Yeah, he's still going, isn't he? Because Jack just came on. I was listening to Monkey before this too, and that's okay. If you want to go over and give him a piece of your mind, that's fine. Oh no, don't do that. We'll have to. Maybe we should do one of those. What do they call it? Raids. As soon as enough people show up here, I don't know. That's always kind of fun to do to people. But anyway, welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, me, Marty, also known as PDawg Night on the internet. And it is Thursday, the 9th of July. And, you know, I'm so happy to see you, Tarai. It's always a pleasure when you're here. Like I said, I was looking through my news aggregator today. My favorite one, Ace of Spades blog. JJ Sefton puts out a number of articles, and so I was just kind of going through there. And what am I going to talk about today? And I kind of haven't spent much time talking about education, and really the thought of what are they teaching your kids? Because a lot of these young people out here today, in some of these protests, while some of them think they're out there protesting about police brutality, there's a whole lot of other stuff that comes up, and you see it all over the internet. And I just, holy shit. So I have a couple examples today of things that your kids are going to be learning in school, and then I have a few other articles, just kind of some random stuff. It is FTG Thursday, although I don't know that I specifically picked out FTG topics or people, but we'll see what happens. But before I do that, I want to say good morning to the people who are here, even though we're trickling in slowly. Good morning to Black Hebrew Israelite.
That's right.
Who was here first and gets the bell, of course, because the first person gets the bell. Also, good morning to CNN Sucks, which is the most redundant name on the internet. Also, good morning, Select a Boy. Okay, that didn't work. Oh, there it goes. And also, good morning, Duck Dog. It's Mike Savage, Advocatus Diaboli, Mr. Hugh, Jaeger Pony, Sean DW, Tyler F, Robert Lapian, and Cheryl Lapian. That is Lapian, right? That's an L. Okay. And Tarai Deos, who I'm so glad to see you back, says you say you're back home in the States. Well, where were you? I'm just curious. Also, good morning to DI Freighter Watcher. And that seems to be it for now. I'm sure people will roll in eventually. Out of curiosity, I am going to see what's going on here. If it looks like Monkey's still streaming, and we share a lot of the same people who watch our show. In fact, I'm going to do my own just momentary raid. Let's see, that's me. Okay, I got 16 in here so far. I'm going to put a little note in his chat. Plus I'm having internet problems. That's the thing. Everything's going slow. See, now there it goes again. And it's partially because I'm having internet problems. I just want to put something in his chat. Let's see. Be sure to send everybody over when you're done. I'm not going to do that. You can, whatever. I'm not even going to do that. Fuck it. I'm going to just worry about my show. Anyway, so, Malia Carr, how are you? Welcome back. I haven't seen you around in a while. Looks like you got a new Avi there. I can't tell, but anyway. So, holy shit. Oh, I didn't tweet this out, did I? Also, if you'd be so kind, share the show. Oh, that's why Hard Bastard's on too. See, Friday's the day that everyone is all over. So, it's just going to be one of those things. It's just how it is. But you know what? I appreciate you that are here more than you know. Just share out the show. You can do that by retweeting what I put on Twitter, Minds, Gab, and Parler. And you can hit the share arrow below and send it out wherever you want. Also hit the like button if you like what we do. And super chats, you know the deal. In the immortal words of Joe Biden. All right, let's talk a little bit about some of the things. Yesterday we talked a lot about that letter. You know what I'm talking about? The letter to Harper's that a bunch of people signed, and then we got into how people. Lapine, like lapines. Okay, lapine, la and peen. Okay, a peen. Thank you, Robert. I appreciate that. I don't intentionally say names wrong, so I hope you realize that. And thank you, Robert Lapine. So we're talking about the researchers at the University of Maryland and I think Michigan State University, is that right? Who did this research talking about that, police shootings aren't necessarily racially motivated, whatever. Well, oh, it is Thursday, isn't it? Is it Thursday? What the hell? Oh, it is. It's silly me. It's Thursday. Holy shit. It's Thursday, July 9th. What did I say? I said Friday, didn't I? My apologies. If it was Friday, my bank account would be a little bit fatter because that's what I get paid from. Anyway, okay. Silly me. Well, it is Friday in Australia, and Malia is feeling right at home right now. Anyway, so we were talking about that study that they did on police shootings, and then one of the researchers was saying, well, oh no, we didn't want right-wingers using this research, even though it, because a lot of people to the right kind of jumped on it, saying, oh yeah, this issue is a little more nuanced than people are trying to make it. And, well, this came up today, which I found, well, I don't know if it's hilarious or depressing. Asian American researcher fired from Michigan State administration for advancing facts about police shootings. Good Lord. Hello, Cynical Lindsay. How are you? The entire purpose of academic research is to discover the truth about vexing scientific and societal questions through the use of research and data. However, if the truth refutes a sacred political agenda, you can no longer publish such research or even cite it. The latest victim of this reverse Jim Crow witch hunt against truth in data and academic research is Stephen Hugh, Vice President for Research at Michigan State University. On June 2nd, I cited a study from researchers this is David Horowitz saying this. I cited a study from researchers at Michigan State and the University of Maryland that concludes, quote, we did not find evidence for anti-Black or anti-Hispanic disparity in police use of force across all shootings, and if anything, found anti-white disparities when controlling for race-specific crime. That is a quote from the study. This study analyzed 917 officer-involved fatal shootings and found that per capita racial disparity in fatal shootings is explained by non-white people's greater exposure to the police through crime. The study was published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences last year. Tucker Carlson mentioned the study on his show later that evening, and it has since gained more notoriety. Naturally, one would expect those who believe in the systemic racism and policing, blood libel, to cite evidence why the study is wrong and to provide counter evidence that supports their position. But debate is not their strong suit. Now he uses the word censorship. I will say cancel. Oh, by the way, I do have my cup of reparations coffee, and it's delicious. Everybody take a sip. The College Fix report that Stephen Hugh was fired from Michigan State University for citing this study and posting an interview on one of its authors, Michigan State colleague Joe Cesario, on his blog. He posted the interview with Cesario on June 2nd, the same day that that'd be David, or what's his name? Horowitz? Yeah, Daniel Horowitz. The same day that he posted the study. Sorry, I lost my place there. The same day he cited the study. On June 25th, the Wall Street Journal reported that the Graduate Employees Union was calling for Hughes' head on Twitter. The Journal pointed out that, among other things, the union also faulted him for having directed funding to research downplaying racism and bias in police shootings. So is that what his purpose was? I don't know. I got to think that maybe that wasn't his purpose. Oh, wait. As Professor Hugh told the Wall Street Journal, the MSU professor who conducted that work, psychologist Joe Cesario, tells me that we had no idea what the data was going to be, what the outcome was going to be before we did the study. Yeah, they were kind of hoping it would reinforce their preconceived notions and the popular notion, but it didn't. Oh, too bad. Mr. Cesario has collected evidence from a simulator and from real-world interactions between police and citizens he concluded that the nature of the interaction really matters the most, and officers were not more likely to be ready to shoot upon encountering a black versus white citizen. Commenting on the Wall Street Journal article in his blog, Professor Hugh noted, several years ago, Cesario was granted a rare opportunity to study police shootings and officer behaviors in simulators in a large city. My office provided him with a small amount of funding to create realistic simulator video of police stops and other situations. This is an important topic to study if we want to understand and improve policing. In his post publicizing his resignation, Hugh revealed that many academics wanted to sign a counter petition supporting him, but they were afraid to sign our petition. Oh, why would they be afraid to sign a counter petition when the mob was ready to? Oh, I'm sorry. They did not want to be the subject of the mob attack. He warned the victory of the Twitter mob will likely have a chilling effect on academic freedom on campus. Oh, might it? Well, only that research which doesn't toe the line. Good God. Now even the authors of the Michigan State study are asking that their report be pulled, citing remember we heard this phrase yesterday? Continued misuse. Oh, yes, the study has facts and people are misusing the facts by citing the facts. Yes, Teredeos hate facts. God. Oh my gosh. Particularly anti-crime advocate Heather McDonald. Oh, misuse by some commentators. Misuse by some comment. How do you misuse facts? By citing them? Particularly anti-crime advocate Heather McDonald, who used it in a recent Wall Street Journal op-ed titled "The Myth of Systemic Police Racism." Ooh. I'm surprised they haven't fired all of the people involved with this study. The authors now contend that the main point of the study was to examine the question of, is there a relationship between the race of officers and civilians they fatally shot? Not to address the larger question of how race impacts the probability of being shot by police. Wait a minute. Wasn't this a quote? Well, here's the quote from your study. We did not find evidence for anti-black or anti-Hispanic disparity in police use of force across all shootings, and if anything, found anti-white disparities when controlling for race-specific crime. Huh. That's a little bit different than what you say down here. However, the aforementioned quotes from their original study that there is no evidence of anti-black bias in police shootings and that, if anything, there is more of an anti-white bias were stated clearly in their study. Well, I should have just read another sentence and I would have been right there. I was right. I must be like Nostradamus or something. Do you really have confidence, given the motivation behind the firing of another Michigan State administrator, that this is really about some epiphany in the methodology of their study that they feel is now wrong? Heather McDonald cited this study the same way she did last month, roughly a year ago, in a column for National Review. Was there concern about misuse of their study in 2019, before cancel culture and before BLM's agenda became a national religion? It's a good question. Americans need to think long and hard about the implications of this story and the authenticity of academic and scientific research in general. If the only research that is allowed to be published is flat earth science that is rooted in woke political sentiment and not about facts and data, then how can we trust anything published by the academic world? This is not just about policing. We are seeing the country turned upside down over assertions about COVID-19 that are already refuted by the public data we have about the lethality of the virus and how it spreads. The same censorship we see on policing and racial issues is playing out in coronavirus research. Policies that affect the safety, liberty, and way of life of a whole of the people are now being propelled by one-sided research. Minnesota State Senator Scott Johnson, who was named Family Physician of the Year in 2016, announced in a video that he is now under investigation by the Minnesota Board of Medical Practice for questioning the official virus death count and implying that not all those people died because of COVID-19. That is a simple fact acknowledged by White House Coronavirus Task Force Response Administrator Dr. Deborah Birx and the Illinois Health Director. This is especially evident from analysis of Minnesota's death certificates, yet Jensen is not allowed to speak the truth. This cancel culture and censorship have now reached every aspect of our lives. You are no longer allowed to believe in common sense or traditional values, even outside your official job. Most recently, a Boeing executive was fired for having written an essay in 1987, mind you, opposing putting women in contact. Wow, I didn't even see that one. Let's check that article out. This culture has accelerated because Republicans who serve as fake opposition movement to the cultural jihad on the left have taught the modern day book burners that the minute they bark racism, sexism, or any other ism, Republicans will run like a scared child from a barking dog. Ain't that the truth? The time has come for a new movement that will stand our ground at all costs. There is no other choice. People are scared, man. They got people scared for their jobs. You know, I always wonder. I mean, I'm pretty easy to find, and it makes me wonder. Am I going to get caught saying something that's terrible to some woke dumbass? Who knows? So here's that article about I did not see this one. Boeing communications boss Neil Golightly resigns over sexist article. So he resigned. They forced him out. Hang on. Before I get into that, I just want to check something real quick. Hi there. It's me. All right. We got a few more people here. I'm getting beat up. Someone go over to Monkey Stream and remind people to come over here when they're done. I feel, well, I'm not lonely. You 20 are just as everything I need, but it just feels weird only having 20 people in the chat anymore. And now that used to be the norm. which is wild because now the norm is like 50 or 60. And I'm like, so I just feel bad. By the way, quick thank yous. Thank you, Cynical Lindsay and Jaeger Pony, for tweeting out the stream. You guys beat me to the punch. Also, if you, the rest of yous, go on to Twitter, Minds, Gab, Parlor. If you do any of those, follow me on those if you're on those. And then also retweet or repost or republish or reparlay what we posted. Or you can just do it yourself. Hit the share arrow. Share the stream out. The more the merrier. Hello, Smarty Bear. How are you doing? All right. This article about the Boeing guy, I had not seen this one. This was the post on July 3rd, apparently. Boeing communication boss, Neil Golightly, has resigned over a sexist article he wrote 3 decades ago opposing women's service in the military. His exit leaves the embattled planemaker searching for a new top spokesman as it works to get its troubled 737 MAX jet flying again. Golightly stepped down on Thursday as Boeing's senior vice president of communications following an employee complaint about the 1987 article, which he called embarrassingly wrong and offensive. Wow. In 87, that was pretty normal to think that way. And even now, I'm not so... oh, God. Am I going to have to step down as my... in my position as the CEO of Lucky Dog Studio? Oh, wait. I am Lucky Dog Studio. Because... women in field combat, unless they're exceptionally strong... probably not a good idea. Just saying. Now, I know the Israelis do it, but I don't think the Israelis necessarily lower their standards for certain positions. Now, women in the military, fine. There are lots of things that women can do in the military. But anyway, you should have just fired the employee. I am the employee. So anyway, Golightly stepped down Thursday as Boeing's... Yeah, at issue is not whether women can fire M60s, dogfight MiGs, or drive tanks. Golightly, then a U.S. Navy lieutenant. He was in the Navy at the time. Then a Navy lieutenant wrote in the U.S. Naval Institute magazine, introducing... Whoops, I hate these little pop-up commercials. Let me get rid of that. Introducing women into combat would destroy the exclusively male intangibles of war fighting and the feminine images of what men fight for: peace, home, and family. Okay, he wrote this in 87. 30 years later, do they even bother asking him if anything's changed in his mind? Did they give that? Golightly, who has only been at Boeing about 6 months, said he decided to resign for the company's sake, even though the article does not reflect his current views. Well, then don't step down. See, this is it. This is the thing. Make them fire you. Okay? If you didn't do anything wrong, make them fire you. My article was a 29-year-old Cold War Navy pilot's misguided contribution to a debate that was live at the time. Golightly said in a statement, the dialogue that followed its publication 33 years ago quickly opened my eyes, indelibly changed my mind, and shaped the principles of fairness, inclusion, respect, and diversity that have guided my professional life since. So why did you step down? Because there's going to be a Twitter Bob, that's why. Boeing said it disagreed with the content of Golightly's article and that it had started a search for his successor. Greg Smith, Boeing's chief financial officer and executive vice president of enterprise operations, will oversee communications in the meantime, the company said. You know what? Boeing president and CEO David Calhoun talked with Golightly about the article and its implications for his role as the company's top spokesman, Calhoun said. He added that Boeing has an unrelenting commitment to diversity and inclusion in all its dimensions. Taradeus, I'm a female and in the military. I just came home from a deployment, and certain women use manipulation to get control. Half my deployment was miserable because of crappy female leadership. And that's just it. Remind me where you had. I know you got deployed. Tell me where you were. Just FYI. Like I said, there are many jobs in the military that women can do. I suppose there's, but field combat is probably not the one area. I mean, I think all women in the military should be trained in field combat, and possibly used as a backup plan. I have no problem women flying fighter jets, shit like that. I'm always concerned about Qatar. Is it Qatar or Qatar? How do they say it over there? Can you give me a phonetic spelling of Qatar? You always worry about women fighter pilot gets shot down over enemy lines, blah blah blah, and how they treat women versus men and combat. I don't know. I'm fine with women in the military. I think there are certain MORs that they probably shouldn't be in, unless they are physically exceptional. And I don't think any standards for being able to remove someone from the field should be lessened for anybody. It should be completely equal opportunity, but equal standards. Well, no, okay. I know the first letter is Ka, but is it Cutter? Do you know what I mean? How to write it phonetically? I know you do, but that's what I need. Anyway, all right. God, I greatly respect Neil for stepping down in the interest of the company. That's not in the interest of the company. You're taking his essay he wrote 33 years ago, which he doesn't even support any longer. He didn't step down for the good of the country. He stepped down to have you avoid some uncomfortable conversations. That's all I can say. All right, let's move on, because I really was going to talk about education today, and for some reason that is not clicking. There we go. Now let's just get through a couple things. Cutter like guitar. Okay. Couture. Okay, I'm gonna stop. Here's one. Now, the other thing I was gonna say about what are people teaching your kids these days? I don't actually. I hear it both ways. Okay, cool. Apparently there's a teacher out there blaming Western imperial. Remember, this is some 1984 shit. Teacher blames Western imperialism, colonization, for concept of 2 + 2 = 4. I got to get one of those t-shirts. Brittany Marshall, a self-described teacher and PhD student, took to Twitter this past weekend to voice her displeasure about the concept of 2 + 2 = 4, saying the idea of simple math equation is merely cultural. 1984 called It's Room 101 back. Nope, the idea of 2 + 2 = 4 is cultural, and because of Western imperialism, colonization, we think of it as the only way of knowing, wrote Marshall. Never mind that the Arabic numeral system we use is not, Western. Good morning, Pete, and good morning, MC. Marshall goes by the pronouns she and her and describes herself on Twitter as a teacher, scholar, social justice change agent, Chicagoan PhD student, architecture enthusiast, wannabe math person, BLM always. Just the kind of person you want teaching your kids, right? Her Twitter and LinkedIn accounts have been set to private, but a bio included a directory of Rutgers PhD candidates says that her area of specialization is mathematics education. Now, sounds like her specialization is actually activism. Marshall's tweet brings to mind George Orwell's famous book 1984, where the protagonist Winston is sent to room 101 to be convinced that 2 + 2 = 5, not 4. Freedom is the freedom to say that 2 + 2 makes 4. We defy it, Winston declares. If that is granted, all else follows. So it's kind of fun. Oh my God. Winston's point, of course, is that there is objective truth, and we can only experience true freedom when we are permitted to pursue that truth, wherever it may lead. But to the woke crowd, which is flying through our institutions like a swarm of starving locusts, objective truth is oppressive and the product of Western imperialism. Pity the poor soul who crosses a bridge built by the anti-objective truth crowd. Marshall's tweet appears to be the part of a larger discussion on Twitter that began with this assertion from Nicole Harris Jones, founder of the New York Times 1619 Project. I wonder if folks always talking about standards ever stop to consider that it is their so-called standards that are the actual problem. Well, and then, oh my God, someone named Chris responded with a meme, which according to Laurel Rubel, highlights the fact that Orwell's equation is mean and probably racist dog whistle too. So, this is a meme, 2 + 2 + 4, a perspective in white Western mathematics that marginalizes other possible values. This tired "how could 2 + 2 be anything other than 4" is repeatedly used to belittle and demean questioning systems like standards, and Hannah Jones did, is supposedly painted as ridiculous, as if we were questioning 2 + 2. This move recurs, and it seems to whistle in the henchman. Bitch, please. It's the discussion prompted another teacher, Kim Charlton, to declare that math isn't objective. She was questioning the standard of objectivity. I don't know how you could justify your statement on the face of that fact. Kim Charlton, math standards aren't objective. That's the whole point. Math isn't objective either. It's always down to interpretation. Holy shit. No, it's not. That's the beauty of math. It's not down to interpretation. Except when you have those little parentheses problems that people do them different ways. But no. It doesn't matter what language it is. It doesn't, no matter how you get to the problem. If you take 2 items, regardless what the language is, and take 2 items and you put them together, there will be 4 items, unless you break one of the items in half, and then you still only have 2 items because the other 2 halves of 1 equals 1. Thank you, CNN Sucks, for the top donor of the day, the only donor of the day so far, but greatly appreciated. CNN Sucks, the most redundant name on the internet, says, when I was in the Navy, the biggest effect on readiness was the woman who got pregnant to get out of duty. Wow. That happens, I'm sure. Did she do it to get out of duty? Really? I mean, that would be the effect of getting out of duty, but holy shit. I always wonder, because I did a stint at a 10-week platoon leaders course for the United States Marine Corps when I was in college. And I specifically did not take any money for it other than the E5 pay that you got weekly, but I did not take any college money for it because when I went into it, I didn't know if it was something that I really wanted to do, but I thought, I'll try it out. And if the experience tells me that this is a course I want to take in my life, then I will decide that afterwards and take the money. I didn't take the money, and I went through the 10-week course, and look, it's funny because, in these courses, for example, our platoon, we started out with, I think 50, something like this, 40 or 50 guys. And in the end, there was only 18 of us left. I mean, people drop out. It's not an easy course to go through. Particularly, you're possibly going in as a second lieutenant in the Marines, and you got these sergeant instructors who are trying to, most of these are just college kids who don't have any experience in the Marines. So these sergeant instructors are going to work your ass off, and their job is to kind of to weed people out who can handle pressure. And but at the end, I didn't want to do it. But I saw some guys, the guys who realized 1 or 2 weeks in that this wasn't for them, and the excuses they made to get out of it were pretty, sometimes comical, but sometimes they just quit, and they weed you out. And so I can imagine anyone who is in a military situation who really wants to get out finds ways to get out. And so I can imagine that there are, that's one way for a woman to do it that a man can't do. So there you go. Anyway, holy shit. She added a subsequent tweet, just because we're told standards math are objective doesn't mean they are. Oh, so math isn't objective. 2 + 2 can equal whatever we want based on our feelings? Let's hope Kim is never allowed anywhere near a bridge blueprint. Kim continued, I think everything needs to be looked at politically. Even math? Okay. We cannot say that anything's objective because people are not objective. I have to look at the source and the history because there's pretty much always an agenda of some sort, whether it's visible at first or not. But we're talking about math, not history. Math does not lie, nor does it change with the political winds of your feelings. The iPhone you type those tweets on is based on a binary system, 1s and 0s, not 5s and 4,000s. And then apparently, let's see, she returned to Twitter to point out something really ironic about the comments being proffered. I loved how objectively true statements are being thrown around while simultaneously rejecting objectivity, she wrote. These are teachers talking. That should scare you. But 2 + 2 = 4 is cultural? Whew. All right, let's move on a little bit. Speaking of what's going to be happening in your school soon, coming to a school near you, Black Lives Matter in public schools is turning kids into little Marxists. School systems across the country are adopting BLM curriculum at an alarming rate, indoctrinating our children to achieve Marxist objectives. Okay, that's an interesting title. Let's get into this because I haven't read this. New York City is one of many school systems in the United States set to roll out Black Lives Matter themed lesson plans this fall. According to the New York City Department of Education, teachers will delve into systemic racism, police brutality, and white privilege in their classrooms. Yay! North Carolina's largest school system in Wake County launched a website this summer that provides BLM lessons for teachers to use in classrooms and for parents to use at home. The website, created by the school system's Office of Equity Affairs, encourages teachers to address the injustices that exist beyond education by the conversations we have with others, by speaking up when we see hate, by supporting efforts that oppose racism and oppression, and by directly engaging in advocacy work. Thank you, Black Hebrew Israelite. Okay, that's not happening. There we go. Who says, with the $2 super chat, thank you, sir. Is that why the IU feminist footbridge collapse in Florida, killing 6 people. Oh, what is that? Florida International University feminist footbridge. Oh, collapse. Oh, yeah. Remember that? Yeah, they made a feminist footbridge that collapsed and 6 people died. That was awful. Was that? Oh gosh, was that built by? Okay. Anyway, thank you, Black Hebrew Israelite. All right. Okay, so let's see. This is by supporting efforts that oppose racism and oppression and by directly engaging in advocacy work. Encouraging people to identify and condemn racism is an undeniably laudable undertaking by these school administrators. That's not what's really happening, though. By bringing BLM into the classroom, activist educators are allowing the most radically divisive movement in modern America history to warp children's worldviews. Wake County's BLM teaching resource is dressed up as a legitimate civics education resource, complete with tips for fostering civil discourse, and a section on teaching historical facts about America's civil rights movement. But closer inspection reveals it to be a deliberate Trojan horse conceived to incubate, amplify, and channel the movement's attitudes for political ends. The site lays out cult-like recruiting processes for students to follow. Step 1. Recognize your white privilege. Oh, class, do this. Let's do this. Do this with me. Hello, Cameraman J and Tyler F. Oh, you're already here, Tyler F. Let's follow along, class. Step 1. Recognize your white privilege. Wait a minute. What if the students aren't white? Never mind. Let's keep going. Step 2. Learn the do's of don'ts of being an ally. Well, who do I need to be an ally to? Oh, I'm sorry. This is for you guys. You guys pay attention. Learn the do's and don'ts of being an ally. Step 3. Recruit more members to learn steps 1 and step 2. Hey! All right. Step 3 of the recruitment process posits racial equity accountability must be tied to specific outcomes. You can't force outcomes. What exactly are these outcomes? The obvious answer is activism on behalf of the BLM movement. Splashed across the homepage of the Wake County School System's website is BLM founder Patrisse Cullors. It is puzzling that a self-proclaimed trained Marxist such as Cullors would be a role model for school system's anti-hatred, anti-oppression curriculum. Did these school administrators realize that Karl Marx's road to utopia led to millions of deaths at the hands of tyrants? But it's not only Cullors, Marx's bona fides, that's troubling. In a 2018 Democracy Now! Interview, Cullors boasted about receiving training from Eric Mann, former member of the Weather Underground charged with attempted murder of police officers in Boston back in 1969. The domestic terror group Weather Underground is responsible for multiple terrorist bombings at the U.S. Capitol and State Department and the Pentagon during the 60s and 70s. Since being a terror sympathizing Marxist doesn't disqualify Cullors from being the poster girl for new school curricula, her history of anti-Semitism surely will deter the administrators. Cullors is a vocal anti-Israel activist and a close ally of Nation of Islam leader Louis Farrakhan. She accuses Israel of ethnic cleansing and racial brutality. Cullors organized a BLM event in Los Angeles on May 30th, during which 5 synagogues were vandalized with graffiti that read "Free Palestine" and "Fuck Israel," as were 3 Jewish schools. Many forget the BLM platform is anti-Semitic. The movement architects falsely claim. Now, this is BLM, the organization, the national organization out of New York they're talking about. The movement's architect falsely claimed there is a link between American police brutality and the Arab-Israeli conflict. Yeah. Okay. So we're Black Lives Matter, right? because I need to get to that Don Lemon interview. Maybe I'll just do a separate video about the Don Lemon interview with Terry Crews, because that would piss me off. And when Terry Crews tried to tell him that, well, Black Lives Matter organization isn't just about police brutality, Don cut him off. He didn't want to talk about anything else on the agenda of the organization Black Lives Matter, not the sentiment Black Lives Matter, which I think doesn't even go nearly far enough. I mean, that's pretty minimal. Black Lives Matter. Really? They just matter? Is that all? Really? I think you can do better than that. But it's not a movement about police brutality. It cloaks itself in a movement about police brutality. That's the problem. And I'm talking the organization, not the sentiment. Anyway. But now they're saying there's a link between the Arab-Israeli conflicts. The manifesto references to the Jewish occupation of Israel as genocide has outraged many Jewish BLM supporters, including Jonathan Greenblatt, executive director of the Anti-Defamation League. Rolling out the BLM platform in classrooms will surely have Jewish parents questioning the school's administrators' commitment to combating anti-Semitism. Kip, Philadelphia Public Schools, has its own plan to work towards an anti-racist agenda. Jessica Cunningham Okoto, CEO of the charter school network KIPP Philadelphia, wrote a letter outlining its new plan to focus on learning mindsets and practices rooted in Black liberation. Black liberation is a Marxist theological and social movement that emerged in the late 1960s. It conceives of America as systemically racist, according to America's institutions. Accordingly, American institutions are considered racist and as conceived to perpetuate racism. Moreover, this entire construct of American culture, symbolically represented by the flag, national anthem, and even Philly's own Liberty Bell, represents an insult to people of color. Well, what color are they talking about? Because there's a lot of colors on the spectrum. I think they meant black people. Black liberation theology's most prominent devotee is President Barack Obama's former spiritual leader, the Reverend Jeremiah Wright, who famously summed up the movement from his Chicago pulpit: "No, no, no, not God bless America, God damn America, that's in the Bible for killing innocent people." Remember that? The financial backers of the BLM movement, such as Ford Foundation and the George Soros Open Society Foundations, no doubt recognize the value of infiltrating the understructure of our educational system, which they've been doing for years, if you hadn't noticed. Anyway, more education news at the University of Pittsburgh. The Black Senate. There's a separate Black Senate at the University of Pittsburgh that demands segregated space solely for black students to congregate. Yeah. Long list of demands also includes severing ties with the Pittsburgh Police Department. Each day we find ourselves overcompensating to make up for the university's failure at combating racism on campus, in the classroom, and amongst students. Yep, I'm pretty sure every college... Isn't it weird how all these college campuses, particularly in northern elite schools, are just bastions of racism and intolerance? It's amazing. I don't know why any black student would go to one of these very racist schools. It's amazing to me. Oh, what was that? They're not really? That's just, oh, okay. Okay, well, it says something else. Anyway, some student activists at various schools are recognizing current trends that are taking advantage of the situation. At the University of Pittsburgh, a coalition of black student activists has put together a list of demands. The demands range from curriculum to hiring and firing policies. Chrissy Clark of the Washington Free Beacon notes the impact on free speech. Okay, here we go. Students demand Pitt eliminate free speech protections. Activists are demanding that the University of Pittsburgh fire any employee deemed racist or discriminatory by students. A move that First Amendment advocates say amounts to the elimination of academic freedom. Now, any employee deemed racist or discriminatory by student. What does that mean? See, here's the thing. That apparently means you only need an accusation. Doesn't have to. You don't even have to have anything. You just need an accusation. Does that make sense? Black Pitt, a coalition of black student groups, is demanding that the university fire any employee dubbed racist by the Black-only Student Council and end employee speech immunity, a core principle of academic freedom and First Amendment protections for academics at public universities. You know, it's amazing. These are kids who've never been told no, apparently. Quote, faculty and staff with one incident or complaint of racial bias, excessive force, or unlawful arrest, detainment should be terminated and banned from the university campus immediately if found at fault. Well, at least they give them a chance to be found at fault, the letter reads, during the time of the investigation. During the time of the investigation, the faculty staff should be disclosed by name and banned from the university campus until completion. Oh my gosh, there is more to this. However, here's how their letter begins. We're just going to go through this letter. To whom it may concern, the following document consists of an action plan curated by the undergraduate black student leaders of the University of Pittsburgh. As a member of the Pitt community, we are exhausted mentally, physically, as well as emotionally. Each day we find ourselves overcompensating to make up for the university's failures at combating racism on campus. Are they running around riding horses around with Klan hoods on? What's going on this campus in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania? In light of recent events, we find ourselves at a pivotal point in time, a point in which change must occur in order for the university to progress forward, a point at which the university must take a stance in solidarity alongside its black students, a point in which the university must reflect and examine its own racist foundation, as well as the impact of systemic racism on business matters and everyday duties at the University of Pittsburgh. That letter also makes demands on curriculum. Transform the mission of the focus of our academic curriculum to be inclusive and comprehensive regarding the plight and triumphs of black people. The first step in appreciating the black experience, whether as members of the community, allies, or bystanders, is educating one another. Changes in current curriculum and introducing new courses to the university will allow opportunities for students, faculty, and staff to fully understand the history of black people. Beyond this, members of the university will be officially informed of how to recognize and call out prejudice, racism, bigotry, etc., in their own thoughts and actions in order to prevent a situation where they are consciously or unconsciously acting on it. Oh, the unconscious bias argument. Because if it's unconscious, then how do you know you're doing it? How will you ever know you're doing it? Also, they want you to establish both a master's degree and PhD program in Black Studies or Africana Studies. The National Council of Black Studies states that as of 2020, 20 colleges offer a master's program in Black Studies and 19 colleges offer a doctoral program in Black Studies. You know what? I'm just going to say this just for the record, which I've said this many, many times, but if you're in school, in college, and your degree program, regardless if it's undergrad, master's, or PhD, ends in the word studies, I would strongly suggest you start studying menus. Because that's about all it's good for. That's a bad joke. I'll probably get in trouble for that joke someday. Oh, also they want mandatory race-based training for faculty. All faculty and staff must undergo 3 training sessions a year before the start of each new academic session that cover topics on racial biases, microaggressions, microassaults, and equity. Faculty and staff with implicit biases can directly impact opportunities for students of color. I thought this was about black students, not just students of color. All faculty and staff need to be trained on how to properly interact with students from different backgrounds in order to teach for the semester. Faculty would need to pass these trainings and receive a certificate of completion. Oh my God. If I want a degree, good point, Jaeger Pony. I was just about to say the same thing. If I wanted a doctorate or a PhD or master's in Black Studies, then I'll seek out a university that has it. Why? Oh my God! Why demand the University of Pittsburgh have it? They also want to influence employment policy. Terminate the employment of racist and/or discriminatory employees on campus. Students should be allowed to submit formal complaints when they experience racial bias by University of Pittsburgh faculty and staff. These complaints should be investigated by the People's Voice Committee. I wonder who's on the People's Voice Committee. Additionally, the OMET survey should contain questions pertaining to the professor's ability to interact with students from different backgrounds and strength in creating an inclusive learning environment. No! You're at a university. It's not their job to conform to you. If you don't like the education you're getting, you might just want to go somewhere else where you're happier. Segregated. Oh, and they want segregated areas for black students only. Create a space aside from the BAS office in the William Pitt Union on campus solely for black students to congregate. A black student body would prefer a location in Posvar to keep us connected to the Africana and African Studies department. Oh my God. Okay. Make my head hurt. They also want the school to sever its ties with the Pittsburgh Police Department, sever ties with the Pittsburgh City Police Department for outside events not tied to the university to actively ensure the protection of black faculty and students. It's the other way around. The reason there is a tie to the Pittsburgh Police Department is to protect faculty and students, including your black ass. It's black to protect students of all races. But here's what they say. The University of Pittsburgh Police Department should sever ties with the City of Pittsburgh Police Department for all on-campus events and activities, which includes terminating any and all contacts with current or former City of Pittsburgh police officers for sporting events, concerts, housing security, and emergency management. What if you have a emergency management? You mean like if someone gets assaulted on campus? You don't think that the Pittsburgh police should investigate that? What if you get assaulted on campus? Oh my God. Please note that we have not suggested any racial bias training or remediation curriculum because reforming racists has not proven effective. It is not our goal to invest time and resources in changing minds of racists who have chosen to remain ignorant and a danger to our campus, but expel them immediately from our community. Wow. Thank you, CNN Sucks, for the $2 super chat. Real talk. When I was in the military, it's a huge issue. Women do either get pregnant to get out of deployment or reduce their workload. USS Kitty Hawk, 50% of female seamen came back pregnant. I'm sorry. I was just laughing at how they get pregnant. 50% of female seamen came back. There's no such thing as female semen. I'm just kidding. Well, no. Oh, I could get into a whole topic on that. 50% of female seamen came back pregnant on their first deployment. Its nickname, the Love Boat, promises adventure for everyone. I don't know the words. That would be a song to sing. That would be a song to sing in karaoke. The Love Boat, you know? If anybody knows what the hell I'm talking about. I was in my early teens when The Love Boat came out. That was a great show. Okay, so yeah, who's teaching your kids? Let's change it up. Well, let's see. Oh, it's already time for Twitter trends. You know what? I'll skip the other stuff I was going to do. Like I said, it's an education day, and so you should educate yourself. Before we get into Twitter trends, just a reminder: hit that like button if you like what we're doing. Looks like we got some more people showed up. We got like 30 here now. Yeah, hit the like button if you like what we do, and share the stream. And the show is sponsored by viewers like you. Support the show with your donations and have your super chats read live on the show, just like CNN Sucks and Black Hebrew Israelite have done this morning. Let's check out Twitter, find out what's going on in the world, because I really just I just don't want to do it anymore. Thank you, RVA Dar, by the way, for retweeting the show. I greatly appreciate you. And also Lindsay and Jaeger Pony. You know I appreciate you guys too. Let's check out the Explore tab on Twitter. See what they have, what they think is the most important thing to put on the Explore tab. And that today would be hashtag That's What I'm Cyan. Oh, a play on words. Apparently it's a promoted Dragon Ball Z Dock and Battle tweet. I don't even know why. I'm going to click it. I'm just curious. I'm not a big Dragon Ball Z guy, but Love Vote, terrible show. Oh, it was so bad. It was good, though, Mr. Hugh. It was so bad. It was good. I got to say it. So That's What I'm Saying campaign, Vegeta and Gogeta arrive at the Dual Docken Festival, share your pulls, and get Dragon Stones. Okay, I don't know what any of that means, but yeah, there's some fights going on in Dragon Ball Z, and it's promoted today on Twitter. Let's go with what's trending, though. Let's check out the trending trend. Number one, Trump taxes. Oh, good God. Here we go again. I couldn't give a rat's ass about Trump's taxes. Please, Kavanaugh and Gorsuch join the majority on Trump taxes case. No one is above the law, including Donald Trump. Okay, let me just... This is also why the House should immediately adopt our bill changing the rules to execute inherent contempt. Congress needs to be able to enforce subpoenas. You know... What's interesting, the appealing process is part of the law. That's not breaking the law. So saying no one is above the law, he went to the farthest he could go with his case. Now, I don't even know what the rule is. I haven't seen the ruling. I have no idea what they're talking about yet. Let's see what this says here. Quite the concurring opinion from Kavanaugh and Gorsuch. In our system of government, as this court has often stated, no one is above the law. This principle applies to, of course, a president. Okay, and he took it through the courts just like he should have. Just imagine when a Democrat is in office and a Republican AG goes after him. I don't know what that means. Watch Dems decide this doesn't apply to Obama and any future Democratic president. I don't know. I don't even know what this is. The conclusion that Congress may apply the obstruction laws to the president corrupts exercise of powers of office according with our constitutional system of checks and balances. Okay, I don't even know. I guess I'm going to have to find out what this is about because I haven't seen the ruling that they're talking about, but clearly something about Trump's taxes here. Dear Republicans, before you blame the Supreme Court for ruling against Trump and in favor of American democracy today. Oh, I'm sorry. This would be Brian Krasenstein or his uglier twin brother who tweets under the name of one of their wives. He says, Dear Republicans, before you blame the Supreme Court for ruling against Trump and in favor of American democracy today, please remember that Neil Gorsuch and Brett Kavanaugh both voted against Trump. It's not the SCOTUS that's wrong. It's Donald Trump. Hashtag Trump taxes. A good day for America. It's a bad day to be a tax cheat. Well, wait! Whoa. It's funny that you try and call Donald Trump a tax cheat. First of all, Donald Trump's been audited every year since 2008. Or 2009, excuse me. Now, that happens to coincide with the Obama administration. Now, if he was a tax cheat, wouldn't the IRS have already, probably, since they've been auditing him every year, don't you think the IRS would have mentioned something that, or there would have been some public record that he was a tax cheat? Wouldn't there be some kind of a court case where the government sued Donald Trump because he's a tax cheat? So it's not about him being a tax cheat. Now, is there something in his taxes he just doesn't want y'all to know? Possibly. So now the Democrats are going to subpoena Trump's tax returns. The Donald Trump Presidential Library would be a book cart he pushes around prison with unread copies of Art of the Deal. Aw, isn't that cute? The Supreme Court rules against Trump. We're going to see some Trump tax returns. I think this is going to turn out just like it turned out when Rachel Maddow had some copies of Trump's tax returns. Remember, he's been audited every year for the past, 12 years? Well, maybe not in the last, who knows if he has been the last 4, but I know at least there were at least 10 consecutive years where Donald Trump's tax returns were audited. Interesting. You want to talk about corruption. You want to talk about presidential misconduct. Trump taxes, I think, again, we'll see. We'll see. It's funny. These guys are all celebrating. Got a feeling it's going to be a nothing Berber go. So, Supreme Court rules Trump cannot block release of financial records. Okay. I guess we'll find out. People, they're excited though. The walls are closing in. This is going to be a fun one to watch. Trending number 2 on Twitter today. The Supreme Court, and this is this is another a series of rulings that the Supreme Court's going on. Supreme Court rules that states can penalize so-called faithless electors. We already knew that because that happened a while back. Let's see. The Supreme Court unanimously ruled on Monday that states can punish electoral college members who refuse to support. Okay. Oh, I see. This is okay. That's from before. Also, just in the Supreme Court, state. That's just from July 6th. What about July 9th? Why are we going back to July 6th on this? This is old news. Is that why the Supreme Court's trending? I can't believe that. Let's. I got an idea. Let's do this. Instead of, okay, let's do right here. Top one on here. Supreme Court just opened itself to congressional demands for individual justices' tax returns. Oh, I wonder. I could see a situation in which the House or Senate decides that it must have access to all the justices' tax and financial records each year to determine if their influences in any way to write decisions they write or vote the way they vote on numerous cases. The justices will not be able to argue that they are immune as a matter of separation of powers, as they just shot down that argument as it applies to the president. Holy moly. Yeah, see, I don't understand what the purpose of Congress subpoenaing his records are. What are they trying to find? Because he hasn't been accused of any crimes. Interesting. But yeah, so much for separation of powers, right? Dumb decision by the court. The unraveling of our country is occurring right before our eyes in real time. Did not see this coming. Wisdom, knowledge, and discernment does not reside with the majority of the Supreme Court justices. I don't know. You know what? It's a toss up now. That's interesting by Mark Levin. Let's see who else is talking about this. Apparently they say that Congress, see, you would think they would have to have a compelling reason. No, this is a fishing expedition. Nancy Pelosi chimed in. A careful reading of the Supreme Court ruling related to the president's financial records. Oops, and it refreshed on me, so I missed it. All right, sorry. Let's see here. Supreme Court ruled that President Donald Trump must hand over financial records to prosecutors in New York. Well, what? Okay, that's different. All right, let's read this now. Now I got to read it. Financial records released to New York prosecutors. On what? The U.S. Supreme Court. Okay, so that didn't say Congress could. That said Congress. I see now. Whoever wrote that may have written it wrong. The United States Supreme Court ruled on Thursday that President Donald Trump must hand over financial records to prosecutors in New York. In a 7-2 ruling, the court said the president does not have absolute immunity from criminal investigation. Well, what crime are they investigating? That's the problem. You have to have a crime that you're... Okay, well, let me finish this story so I know what the hell they're talking about. The nation's highest court also issued a ruling in a separate case concerning a request by Democratic-led congressional committees for Trump's tax returns and financial records. In a 7-2 ruling and a partial victory for Trump, the court sent the congressional case back to a lower court for further consideration. Manhattan District Attorney Cyrus Vance, a Democrat, has asked for 8 years of the president's financial records in connection with an alleged hush money payment made to porn actress and former Playboy model Stormy Daniels. Trump's attorney had claimed the president was immune from criminal investigation, a claim rejected by the court. Now, I'm going to guess that that's not what they claimed. I would have to read it. I'm not taking that on Yahoo News' words or AFP's words. 200 years ago, a great jurist of our court established that no citizen, not even the president, is categorically above common duty to produce evidence when called upon in a criminal proceeding, the court said. We reaffirm that principle today. Vance called the ruling a tremendous victory for our nation's system of justice and found its founding principle that no one, not even a president, is above the law. Our investigation, which was delayed for almost a year by this lawsuit, will resume, guided as always by the grand jury's solemn obligation to follow the law and the facts wherever they may lead, Vance said. You know what? That's probably appropriate. I don't understand congressional committees being able to do that. And so now, yeah, congressional committees, because the congressional committees are not the law. They're not the courts. They're not an official of the court. So I don't know why congressional committees could do this. A prosecutor in a case possibly against the president? Absolutely. Why wouldn't they be able to? But even though it's a fishing expedition, we all know that. We know it's all bullshit. But anyway, if there is a criminal case against the president, then of course the court should be able to do that. Congress, not so much. At least I don't know. I guess I don't know the law that well. They call me Lawyer Dog, but I am not a lawyer. I only play one on the internet. So there you go. Interesting. So the walls are closing in. I'm sure Rachel Maddow will have 6 weeks of material to talk about now, because, she likes to do that, and she has her, conspiracy theories. Yes. Trump tax returns, trending number 3. We know why. Kate. What the hell is Kate? Is this a Trump misspelling? I bet it is. Yep, he did. Here's what Trump tweeted. We have a totally corrupt and previous administration, including a president and vice president who spied on my campaign and got Kate. Yes, a misspelling. This is a Donald Trump tried and true tactic to make sure that his tweets get read, and you fuckers fall for it every damn time. It's embarrassing for you, because now everyone's going to read a tweet that says, we have a totally corrupt previous administration, including a president and vice president who spied on my campaign and got caught, and nothing happens to them. This crime was taking place even before my election. Everyone knows it, and yet all are frozen stiff with fear. Or frozen stiff with fear. And y'all took the bait by the word Kate is trending. And y'all are suckers. You all are suckers. So now everyone's going to go, oh, what was the tweet he wrote that in? Oh, what is this for the lay? Naya Rivera, she's a Glee star who is missing after a boat trip on a lake in Southern California. Hope they find her. Thursday Thoughts will skip. Bill Nye is trending. Why? Who knows? Let's see why Bill Nye is trending. Bill Nye shares TikTok video on the importance of face masks. They are literally life and death. Well, let's check out Bill Nye's TikTok on face masks. Well, Bill Nye, the Chinese government has everything that you ever put on your phone now. Oh, hang on. No video, no audio. Hang on. Let me fix this. All right, here we go. Here's Bill Nye.
Greetings, everyone. Bill Nye here. Why do people in the scientific community want you to wear a face mask?
Do they, Bill?
In public? Well, please consider the following. Face masks like this one prevent particles from my respiratory system from getting into the air and then into your respiratory system.
Okay,
Blocking
Bill.
the movement of air is an old trick. Here's a scarf. It blocks the movement of air around my throat. Helps keep me warm. This scarf won awards in the Washington State Fair for both design and workmanship. It can block the movement of air, but only to a certain extent. This is a homemade face mask. It has just 2 layers of cloth with a pipe cleaner sewn in to help it fit against the bridge of your nose. And it blocks the movement of air very effectively.
It makes it harder to breathe, too. But okay.
These, you're protecting yourself and those around you.
All right. Well, okay. And Bill be spitting facts, someone says here. And Terrence K. Williams, Bill Nye, the sellout guy. We don't need COVID-19 tips from a washed-up scientist. Well, he's actually a mechanical engineer, but whatever. Another wannabe expert. I'm listening to Bill Nye or Fauci, who's with me. Terrence, that's up to you. If you want to listen to them, then you are welcome to listen to them. If you don't want to listen to them, this is America. I wear a mask occasionally when I know I'm going to be around people who are possibly more fragile than I, and but I've been out ever since. I've been working. I've never stopped working during this whole COVID thing, and I stay away from people. I keep my distance from people who do that, and out of their, out of respect for them and for me, and they've gone back and forth on masks so many times. Wear a mask if you are comfortable with them. Moving on, something about K-pop trending here. Thursday morning, Manhattan, again, expected to rule on Trump's tax record. They already did. We can skip that. Clarence Thomas is trending. Let me guess. Well, presidential misconduct. Let's find out what this is. This has got to be something Trump tweeted too. Presidential misconduct. Trump lies, constantly ignores congressional subpoenas, persecutes whistleblowers, fires staff that disagree with him, is enriching his family, has worsened our environment, botched the pandemic response, and is a complete failure. Okay. Did he tweet something about presidential misconduct? Okay, no, this is just a thread of people bitching about Trump. Okay, so the hashtag activists are out in force today. Okay. I was hoping it was something he wrote and that everyone's talking about it. They're saying that let's see. Presidential misconduct. The fact that you think Obama found out about your Russian collusion by bugging Trump Tower in 2016 tells us all that you did in fact discuss your Russian collusion in Trump Tower in 2016. Your accusation is admission of guilt. There's a lot of people who have no idea what's going on with this investigation into the investigators, and I think they're going to be gravely disappointed when they start actually hearing about some of the facts that they're finding out. Some of the things the Obama administration did that were completely and utterly shady regarding this so-called investigation, like the fact that the investigation on Flynn was over and they already said that he did nothing wrong, and then they said, oh no, but we're going to pin something on him anyway. So let's go and have a little chat with him without any lawyers around and see if we can catch him or see if we can coerce him into a lie. It's on paper that they did this. In fact, let's go right here. I had this queued up. We'll finish with this. That's it for Twitter trends. Let's finish with this one. Apparently, there's new evidence that shows the Department of Justice was skeptical of the FBI's case against Michael Flynn. And this is from yesterday. Senior Justice Department officials were skeptical of the FBI's criminal case against Trump's former national security advisor, Michael Flynn, and the possibility of charging him, according to internal notes, reports Just the News. Skepticism about whether Flynn intended to lie during an FBI interview or posed a national security threat was expressed in handwritten notes that were turned over Tuesday to Flynn's defense team and the judge overseeing his case under a protective order, according to multiple sources, explained investigative reporter John Solomon. U.S. Attorney Jeff Jensen recently discovered these documents, and Jensen was specially appointed by Attorney General William Barr to review the FBI and DOJ's conduct in Flynn's case. These documents are a part of a trove of exculpatory materials withheld illegally from Flynn's defense. The sources told Just the News. The new documents included extensive notes taken by Senior Justice Department official Tashina Gohar, former FBI agent Peter Strzok, and former DOJ and FBI lawyer Dana Bonte between January and March 2017, long before Flynn's case was referred to Special Counsel Robert Mueller or Flynn reached a deal to plead guilty later that year. The notes include records of a late January 2017 meeting where Flynn's case was discussed by numerous senior FBI and DOJ officials. The meeting occurred nearly 3 weeks after the FBI agent who had investigated Flynn's contacts with Russia, including Ambassador Sergei Kislyak, had already concluded the Trump advisor had not engaged in any wrongdoing and that the 5-month-long investigation should be closed down without any further investigation. FBI supervisors overruled the agent and kept the case open, pivoting instead to the idea of seeking an interview with Flynn and pursuing a prosecution under the rarely used Logan Act. And in fact, it was Joe Biden that suggested the Logan Act. But he didn't know anything about any investigations, even though he's the one who suggested the Logan Act. And on that note, we're calling it a day, gang. I got to thank you for being here today at the Morning Night Live. As you know, we're here Monday through Friday, 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central, 1500 GMT. Did my screen freeze? I don't know. And if you'd be so kind, on your way out, make sure you punch that like button right in the kisser. And please share the stream out. Make a comment if you're here watching the replay. And donations can be done through the Streamlabs link in the description down below or at PDawgNight.live. So, I got to call it a day. Got to make sure I'm not late today at my other gig. So, thank you again for being here. I got to go. My name is PDawg Knight. And I'm out of here. Bye-bye. Hey, this is PDawg Knight, and thank you for watching today on the PDawg Knight channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterward so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through the Streamlabs link, which is also in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm PDawg Knight, and I'm out of here.